you did something super cool. Like anytime you go to Chicago, the Greek, he's the guy from Chicago. And I guess Austin Coyle too, but you spent some time hanging out. Well, there's the storm that we were in, Jack. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. That had to be crazy for you guys, but you spent time with Chris Karamessinis. You went and found a track. Tell me a little bit about your exploits away from the track.
So the picture was taken in Chris's shop, and he's been in there since 1963. And you can imagine all the traveling fuel racers back in the day when they came into Chicago, their cars went in that shop. There's room for 4 or 5 of them. They do their maintenance there. There's a little parking lot next door. It is south side of Chicago. It is right next to the railroad tracks. It's a rough neighborhood, but people don't touch the Greek. He's just mythical. And there's just something about that man that's 1 in 300 million. And just to get to reminisce with him, go back through pictures, listen to the stories of that. And then when we left there, we drove out to Gary, Indiana. It's only about an hour there, south of Chicago, and it's the old US 30 racetrack. It hasn't been run on since 1984. My buddy Brett Kempner has chronicled over 4,000 drag strips that have existed throughout history, and has kind of hold my hand through some of these visits to abandoned tracks. And that's where a lot of history was made. A lot of legends were born there. Frank Hawley got his nitro license at that racetrack. That picture, I'm standing in the right lane at US 30, Gary, Indiana, and Karamessinis was the man there. All the big names showed up for the AHRA national events there. I just went back and watched some footage. There was Dick LaHaye, Gene Snow, Don Garlitz, the Greek, Mike Dunn driving the Hawaiian. I mean, if you think about it, Chicago was the mecca for match race funny cars, and Wednesday night at US 30 was probably as great a show as you could see in the entire country. And it's sad to walk out on these abandoned tracks and wonder what if you go to where Lyons sat or Orange County sat or Irwindale sat, all those have been developed. So at least they use the land. You look there at US 30, that entire footprint is unmolested. You could reopen a drag strip there today, but it hasn't existed for 41 years.
Wow, that is amazing. Now that's where the historic 201 happened, Mr. 201. Is that the?
Well, that was out in Illinois. That was April of '60 when Greek went the 204 mile an hour run. And that track is actually closer to St. Louis. I drove over to it last year when we got rained out Friday. And in the future, I'm going to do a better job of chronicling these, and stay tuned. I'd like to start doing maybe a little series on this stuff and give the viewers some insight, some tidbits, and some history there. Because if you think about it, there's thousands of tracks where people grew up at, where they've got amazing memories. And sometimes just seeing a picture of them now contrasted with one back in the day will make people think back on their childhoods or their young adult years. And if we can get some fond memories of some people and put a smile on their face, I think that'd be a neat series.
I love it. I agree.